I was trying to figure out what kind of background I wanted. You know I wanted to do blue. You know I did. But we're going to be adding like some bronze glass, maybe some pine cones. So we're going to paint some of these leaves, maybe add some of this stuff. We're going to tuck some of these cute little candy corns in. So I figure I was thinking I should have more of a neutral background. So I'm going with a little bit of white, and this is kind of a greige color. It's kind of a gray taupe, and it's by Delta, and it's called Shadow Gray. Very neutral. I'm going to turn my plate. Very neutral. Ooh. Steve in the house. Very neutral, and will look really good behind the pumpkin. Yes, boot camp is awesome. And if you join the Shattered Circle, you also get a discount on boot camp. So it takes $30, 30 or 40. Is it 30 or 40? $30 off the price of boot camp if you join the Shattered Circle. Okay, so here is my 8x10. Let me find my 8x10. 8x10. I got all my little stickers right here. 8x10 canvas. I'm going to use a 1 inch. Is that an inch? That's a 3/4. All the writing is rubbed off. It is a 3/4. And I'm going to start with white because this gray is a little dark. So we're going to add white and then swish in some of the gray. All right. So let's just get some of the white. I should have just squirted it on my canvas. On my canvas squirter. So we're going to just get some white on our canvas. And then we'll add in the grays. I did not have put near enough white on my little plate there, did I? That's only about 1/3. Oh, it is not, Stacy. Give me a few hours and I'll get that fixed. It is not. And the girls, bless their hearts, I will tell you that the girls left early today. They have worked so hard, and normally they do inventory on Friday and update the quantities, but they've worked so hard that we let them go early, accidentally on purpose. Not really. And so they probably just said, we're out of here, and did not do that. But I will get that taken care of as soon as possible. All right. See, I poured it on my canvas, and then now I have too much. Isn't that how it goes? Let me see. I'm going to wipe some of it off. We're excessive. I am always excessive. Am I excessive, Steve? Would you say I'm excessive? Careful what you say, buddy. Be careful. All right. So it covered all in white. So now with my white still on my paintbrush, I'm going to wipe a little bit of it off. I'm going to grab up some of that gray. I'm going to scooch over so you can see. I'm going to grab up some of that gray, and I'm just going to make shapes. I'm going to just smush it on. I don't want you to feel like you have to do a certain technique. So basically, I'm just going to take my brush, and I'm just going to smush it and just kind of rub and push into that white. I'm going to leave my corners a little darker than the rest. So we'll kind of get some dark in that corner. And then I'm just going to kind of make some X's. Just for a little texture, little movements. And I can't go too slow because my paint will start to dry. and then it will be a problem. So let's get that center done. Make sure you hit that round edge. And get a little bit of white back in. Now I'm gonna go a little heavier on my corners. Thank you for the sprinkles. I'm not worried too much about the center because that's where our pumpkin's gonna be. Like right in the middle. That's where the great pumpkin shall live. So just get a little color. You don't have to be so extravagant either, so textury. Just get a little bit of color on your background. I'm kind of liking that. I'm kind of digging it. It's a little messy. It looks like kind of a stormy sky a little. Let me add a little more right there, a little darker. A little darker bits. I got way too much of that gray on my palette, don't I? And you see, there's really just no technique that I'm using, really. I'm just kind of adding paint and mixing it into my white. It's just so simple. Basically, just don't even think about it. Just start adding color until it kind of gets the way you want. The kitten is chasing the paintbrush. Okay, let's get this dry. I'm not going to worry about my edges for now. I'll deal with them later. Let's get it dry and get our pumpkin on our you probably are, Sheila, if the texture shows, on cheaper canvases, they really can be super texture. So if you see that your canvas has a lot of texture, put a single coat of white on first, and then kind of like a primer coat, and then start with your art, because sometimes the background paint is not enough to fill in that texture. And so just put a single coat of paint on, just white, like a primer, and then carry on. I've noticed they're a lot worse since COVID. You know, they used to be really nice, but ever since COVID, it's like they all went downhill. All right, so all dry. Here's our pumpkin, and we are going to use our graphite and a smidgy of tape, and I'm gonna lift him about 1.5 inches off the bottom of my canvas, because we're gonna put all kinds of goodies down there at the bottom. So I'm gonna tape him right here in a couple of spots. Let's wrap it around. And then we're gonna tuck our graphite paper in behind our cute little pumpkin. And then I'm gonna use the stylus. Y'all, I wanna show y'all this. I have been missing this for about 6 months. This is my stylus that I have had for probably 30 years. I probably had this for about 30, maybe even longer. I'm 61, so probably 35 or so years. And I just found it today, tucked in a bunch of paintbrushes that I was getting ready to throw away. So I'm glad I found it. I love him. He's my little friend. So we're going to come back up here. We are going to trace our stem. I'm going to make a long, wanky stem. And then, I know we've talked about this before, but I'm going to just briefly go over it again. And a pumpkin is easy. It's an egg in the middle. All right. And then it is parentheses. So you got to write parentheses. Another skinnier right parentheses. Then you have a left and a skinnier left. That is all a pumpkin is. Just a bunch of parentheses. All right, so let's stick that over there. Let's get the tape off this so we can share it with our Shattered Circle members. And let's paint. I want to show you the colors I'm using. I'm going to try to keep this where I can find it so I don't lose it again and almost throw it away. So for my pumpkin, I am going to be using 3 colors. I'm going to be using, and they're kind of bright, but it's okay. I'm going to be using Spiced Pumpkin. Nope, the 61. Rub it up against 62. Sunset Gold and Georgia Clay. Just for you, Miss Pammy. A little bit of Georgia Clay, and of course we're going to throw in a little white and probably some traditional brown. All right, so we're going to do our pumpkin first, and I'm going to start with my orange. So we're going to paint in the orange, and then we're just going to, I may even grab a palette knife because I want it to be very loosey-goosey. So let's get some orange, some clay, and some gold on our plates. I'm going to start with a brush, but I totally may move to a palette knife. I'm going to grab one just in case I decide. And I'm going to grab this little baby one. I love him. He's so cute. I'm going to get my first coat of orange on, and then we'll decide. So we're going to go in with this bright orange, pumpkin orange. And I'm going to do one pumpkin section at a time. Just easier to blend and manage that way, in my opinion. But you do you. If you can paint the whole thing at once. I like to break it down, especially for my lives. Break it down for my newbies. A little orange. All right. Now I'm going to take my palette knife. I'm going to put a little white on my plate. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to take my palette knife and I'm going to dip it into the Georgia Clay, right? Just on the back side of my palette knife. And I'm going to come in and I am going to just add. I should let that orange dry first, but that's okay. Just going to add in some of that red clay color right there on one side. Wipe her off. I'm going to get a little bit of that orange back in. I'm going to grab some of that yeller. Just a little. Let's go the other side. Just smush in a little yellow. And I'm barely touching, guys. I'm not scraping my palette knife across my canvas. I'm just barely touching and moving it around with the flat side of my palette knife. You don't want to scrape because then you're just scraping it off. So just kind of move it around. I'm going to wipe that off. I'm going to get a tiny bit of white. Just a tiny bit on the tippy. And I'm going to come over here and just add a little bit to that left side. Or the right side, whichever way you're looking at it. All right, we're going to start with that, and we'll probably do layers, okay? So I am going to do another section with my brush, and just come around. Make sure you're covering your tracer lines is the biggest thing. All right. I'm going to hit this with a blow dryer I want it a little dry, but not completely, so I'm just gonna help it along. That's good. I'll keep you handy. I'm gonna go in to the red again, the Georgia clay, and we're just gonna add some of that. See, that's so much better when the orange is not scraping around too. Just very random. We want it to be messy, okay? We're not trying for perfection. We want it a little messy. I'm gonna go into my yellow, just a little bit on the tip. And we're gonna go kind of close to the edge, but not quite all the way. And just lay that out. I'm gonna grab a little white, just a teeny bit, and we're gonna hit that outside edge. Now I'm gonna get a little bit more orange back on my brush and kind of meet all that in the middle of my brush. It's not a brush, all right? Just kind of cover that middle section. All right, now let's do orange again. Oop, there it is, orange. And we're just gonna repeat and repeat. I'm gonna get it a little bit dry just for a sec. We're gonna come in with a little, I'm just gonna get a little less of that clay color because it's a teeny tiny little section. We're just gonna add a little bit of that red. Wipe it off, grab a little yellow. Let's come up to the top a little. A little bit of white, just a teeny bit, just kind of on that edge. Not much, you don't want to white it out. Then I'm gonna get a little bit of that orange. We're gonna kind of blend right into the middle. Now this might turn it into a hot mess. We're just gonna have to wait and see. I'm getting splatters all over the place, and guess what? I'm leaving them. I don't care. So let's do the opposite side. Let's go in with our orange. Fill in our little section. And this is like a messy art. It's kind of abstract-y. So even if you make a boo-boo, just roll with it and just keep working, okay? Because you can always just layer. And we're definitely gonna be doing some layering. So I'm going in my orange, or my red, and I'm just gonna add some of that red gently, just tickling the canvas, okay? You're just touching and barely touching and just moving along. Moving along. All right, so you want it to be splotchy. Let's go yellow. And right along that edge, let's go with some yellow. Let's get a teeny bit of white, just highlight that little section. Now I'm gonna go back to my orange and kind of get some in the middle to help those two colors get together. Mediator color. We have one more piece. Then we're gonna dry it and maybe add a little bit of more color. All right, so let's do around. You know, to me, doing art this way is easier. I know some of you stress out. I know my girl Maureen, she's having a fit right now. Y'all stress out about abstract stuff, but to me, it's mistake proof. It is completely mistake proof because it's abstract. So let me get that dry a little. You know, there's no wrong. There's no wrong. All right. A little bit of a red color. Mistakes are welcome. Let's bring that up just a smidge. Wipe it off. Let's get a little yellow. We're going to kind of bring that down. The white. Let's get a little more orange. Bring that to the middle. Voila. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna dry this completely, and then we're gonna put another quick layer on and see what it does. I'm gonna have a sip of my lemonade while we do that. Okay, good and dry. All right, so now I'm gonna try something, so just bear with me. I'm gonna try, nope, I don't like that already. Well, maybe I do. I'm gonna try to do a little bit of brushwork over the top, just to kind of bring another dimension to it. The orange. Wipe it off, grab a little yellow. And then I'll show you something too, a little tip. The easiest way to not be perfect is to hold your brush at the end. Okay, it's really hard. When you hold it down here, your tendency is to make perfect brush strokes. But when you hold it close to the end, it's really hard to make perfect brush strokes. So hold it close to the end if you struggle a little. And I'm just gonna layer in some color. I'm gonna grab a little white, come around here. Now I'm gonna take my brush and I'm just gonna smash. Oh my goodness, y'all, I'm digging that. I'm digging it. Look at the center one. Digging that. All right, let's do the next one again. So I'm gonna take my orange first, kind of put it in the middle, very loosey-goosey. We're not trying to be perfect. Wipe it off, get some of that red color, blend it in, wipe it off, a little yellow. Wipe it off, grab a teeny bit of white on the very tips, and just get a little on that edge. Now take your palette knife and follow the curve, okay? So you're gonna follow the curve. Blend it all together. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Digging it. Digging it. Let's do another one. We'll add a little orange. I'm kind of leaving it kind of thick. I'm not just putting like a thin layer. I'm kind of leaving a little bit of goo, like thickness to it. I just took all my white out, didn't I? And so that when I go in with my palette knife, it moves the paint. A little bit of white. I'm going to come back around there with some white because I covered it up. So We'll add some white to that. Excuse you. Palette knife, let's clean it off. And I'm gonna go around, just follow the curve. Follow the curve. Dig in that. Cool. I love that. I love it. All right, let's do this side. Start with our orange. Is that 2 or 1? That's 2. Where's my thingy? It's 2. All right, so we're gonna come in with the orange first. Just add a blob of the orange. Come in and look, I'm really loading my brush, so I have a good bit of paint on that brush. Yellow. And look at all the paint on my napkin too. I'm gonna go into the white and add that white right there. All right, let's smash. I'm gonna follow that curve. I'm gonna start at the top and just follow the curve of the pumpkin. Look, it got over in here and I don't even care. I don't even mind. Kind of looks cool. I'm gonna get a little. Look at that. Very messy. I don't know if you can see all my splatters too. Got a little bit of a tracer line showing right there. Just gonna pat a little in. We'll go back to our orange. And add a little orange. We'll add a little red. We'll add a little yellow. And tip in a bit of white. And let's do it again. I'm gonna make sure my palette knife's clean. And I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna start at the bottom and just move those colors, blend them in to their neighbors. Look at that. I'm totally digging that. 100%. He is here. I'm going to dry this real quick. It's nice and dry, and I'm going to take my palette knife. I'm going to clean that off a little. Make sure the back side is clean. And I'm gonna get just a little bit of white on the back of my palette knife. I'm gonna kind of offload it, kind of smash it down on my plate so that I have a very tiny amount. And I am going to just run my palette knife. Let me do it this way. Run my palette knife on those white edges here. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I totally love that. I'm gonna try one more little bit with the yellow. I'm gonna get a little on the back and kind of smush it just like I did the white. Just smash it around on your plate so it's just a tiny bit of that yellow. And I'm gonna come in and just do a little bit of that yellow. I like that too. And then I'll show you up close and personal. Up close and personal. What do you think? I'm kind of loving that. Thank you, Tracy. How you doing? All right, let's paint our stem. I have some traditional burnt umber. I'm gonna put a little on my plate. And I still have a little white in case we need to use that. And I'm gonna get my brush wet. I really need a new napkin, but I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna paint my stem with the brown. Just get right up on the tracer line. And don't be afraid to make it wiggly and gnarly, because most pumpkin stems are wiggly and gnarly. They're not perfectly beautiful little stems. All right, let's get next to the pumpkin. Right there. Got a little wild hair on my pumpkin too. So, and then I'm gonna take it, I wanna take it up and around. So I'm getting a very thin layer on the tip of my brush. I should use my liner, but that would be too easy. All right, I kind of dig that. All right, now I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rinse that brush. And I think I'm gonna try this, and if I don't like it, we'll stop. Okay, so I have my wet brush, right? I'm gonna tip in one corner into my brown, and we're gonna do what? Somebody tell me what we're gonna do since we have paint on the corner. We're going to swish, and I'm just gonna come around the outside of this center pumpkin. I'm gonna come around and just add a tiny bit of brown, kind of random, just to give it some shadow. That's right, we're swishing. Give it a little more. We're gonna swish. And I'm gonna come around and just add the tiniest bit of brown. The tiniest. Can y'all see my plate? Can you see my swishing? Swish, swish. I'm gonna come around and tiny last swish, just to add a little bit of shadow. And it also gave the stem a little time to dry. So we're gonna come in and do a second coat on that stem. And while it's wet, I should have dried that with a dryer. It's still not quite dry, but that's all right. While that's wet, I'm gonna wipe off, I'm not rinsing. I'm gonna get a little bit of white on the tips of my bristles, just a teeny bit, right on the tip, kind of blend it into your brush a little. And I'm gonna come down this one side and just really kind of wiggle in, just swish in a little bit of that white. I'm gonna wipe that off. I'm gonna get my corner in, and I'm gonna make the like cut area of that pumpkin just a little bit of a round. And I'm gonna grab my liner brush. It's that long, skinny one that I love so much. And I'm gonna really take this out. There we go. Digging it. Y'all, I like this. I don't know about y'all, but I like it. Let's get it dry. Oh, that's dangerous. Dangerous. Oh, darn. I normally don't work on Fridays. but that makes me want to. All right, let's do a little bit of, actually, I need a couple of leaves painted. So while we have wet paint, I'm gonna paint 2 of these oaky looking leaves and then 1 of these maple. These came from Hobby Lobby back in the section where you buy raw wood stuff. So let's paint a couple of leaves and then we're going to, and I'm trying to see, let me see what we're doing here. I'll use this, and we're gonna use these same fall colors, and I'm probably about to get paint all over my hands. All right, so I'm gonna go on one side with the Georgia clay, and I'm just gonna get some color on the wood. Now I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna come on the other side. Well, let's get a little yellow. It soaks in really easy, so it should dry really fast. We'll go a little yellow on that side. I'm gonna grab a little orange and we'll just kind of swish between the 2 colors, some orange. Then I'm gonna go back to, I'm gonna go back to the Georgia clay and just pad in a little bit more. Use my finger painting. So leaf 1, just the same exact colors. So cute. We're gonna try to do them all different. So on this one, let's do a lot of yellow. Let's start with our yellow. And you know what? I got a little green. So let's just add 1 dot of green. And we'll put a little green on one too, because that one is just starting to turn. Right? I'm gonna go to my green. Let's just add a little green right on the tips. Very messy. Be very messy. This is not, if you've ever looked at a leaf that had all these colors on them, they made no sense whatsoever, right? So don't try to be perfect. We use our finger, blend it in a little yellow. Yellow. And I'm gonna take that orange and just kind of hit the edges and just use your finger. There is leaf number 2. So cute. And let's do another one. We're gonna start with our dark clay color. I'm gonna hit the tips of our leaves. We'll go a tiny bit of orange, just blend it up into, see how I'm just kind of squishing it around? I'm dipping in the paint, I'm putting it down and just kind of blend it up into that red color. So it just kind of all meshes together. All right, I'm gonna get a little bit of yellow. I was probably overdoing it. I'm gonna go back to the orange a little. And down at the bottom, I'm gonna throw in a little bit of green because I can. Because I can and you can't stop me. Just like that. Voila. 3 leaves. 3 leaves. I think it is 40% off. Okay, so here is what we're gonna do. While these set and dry, the plan is to add some of the bronze glass to the bottom. Just kind of swoop it around. Then we're gonna add our leaves, and we'll add, you know, I probably should have done, that's okay. We'll add our leaves and maybe stick one in the glass where it's 3-dimensional. And we have pine cones, and we have candy corn, and we have some of this kind of stuff that we are going to work with our resin. So while our leaves dry, I'm going to grab my pen, and we're going to just do tiny bits of, let me get rid of this. We're going to do a tiny bit of line work, all right? So I'm going to take my pen, and I am literally going to scribble some lines. Let's go around, short, wiggly, not perfect. I like to do just short lines. Dot, dot, dot. Short. So let me show you how that looks now. Look in the Christmas section, Marla. There's our pumpkin. I'm gonna hit that with the heat for a millisecond. And should have hit those, but that's okay. I'm gonna grab some bronze. This glass you can buy in my store at artshattered.com. I'm gonna add just some bronze. What are you doing in there? To the bottom of my canvas. Just to give it a little something to be, the pumpkin, something to be sitting in, right? I don't want you. And what are you doing? It's like a bunch of jumping beans. And I'm going to cover up some of the bottom of my pumpkin. Don't worry. It's fine. It'll be fine. Because we want it kind of buried in the glass. There we go. A little more. A few little nugs on the end. I like it to be organic. I don't like to do like a straight line across. I like it to have a little organic nature to it. And we're gonna come up into our pumpkin a little. Get down there where you're supposed to be. And I like layers too. I don't like one flat layer of glass. I like it to be dimensional. Dimensional. All right, so what I'm gonna do at this point is resin, okay? Because everything else I'm gonna situate inside wet resin. So we're gonna mix up, I'm gonna mix up, oh gosh. I think I'm gonna mix up 1.5 ounces. So I need 2 cups. I'm gonna mix 3/4, actually I'll use these 2 and then stir in that. That looks dirty. So we'll do 3/4 ounce of hardener, 3/4 ounce of resin in each of our baby cups. Well, hey, sister girl. And 3/4 ounce is right here. You make my line. And then 3/4 ounce is right here. Boom, boom. Oh, seriously. Catherine, you gonna time me? Thank you. Just saw your comment. All right, I'm gonna grab my gloves. And glove up. Ouchie, ouchie. And we'll do 3/4 ounce of hardener. Boom. Slow down, Cindy. All right. That's 1 cup. If you're new, you want to always mix in 2 cups. That way you don't have boo-boos, because it's really easy to have a mixing accident and accidentally get more of one than the other. Then you end up with a sticky mess, and then you're mad. Then you just have a sticky mass of resin that will not dry properly. So I'm going to dump into this cup. Let's get as much out as we can so we know we've got the proper amount. And we'll dump this. Let's scrape and make sure we get it all out, all the deliciousness. All right, and Catherine is going to time me, and we have to mix this for 3 minutes. So I'm just going to stir, scrape the sides, and scrape the bottom for 3 minutes. You're going to scrape your pen, all that stuff. And I'm answering questions while that happens. That pen was a micron. You can use a micron or a graphic, any graphic illustrator pen that is archive quality. This is bronze glass. I know, Kathy. I'm a busy girl. Body at rest stays at rest, right? Body at rest stays at rest. I'm going to bring some of that glass up the side too in just a minute. He's floating funny on the right side. So I'm scraping and stirring and scraping and stirring for 3 minutes. So if anybody has a question about the shattered circle, if anybody has a question about the Rudy Reindeer bonus, if anybody has a question about the pumpkin or about glass art or about art shattered, I am an open book. And I'm stopped up. I did not eat, but Steve said if I hurry up, he'll take me to Colton's Steakhouse. So if I seem rushed, it's because my stomach is talking to me. My stomach is said, I ate a beef jerky stick. I think the Joann's here is closed. Yes, mine too, Sue. Scrape, stir, scrape, stir, scrape, stir, scrape, stir. If you join the Shattered Circle, you get the kit in the mail. I did, Sheila. And yes, this video replay will be accessible later. And don't forget, guys, if you're on the fence, to be able to get Rudy Reindeer in your classroom and to be able to get that little mini, thank you, Catherine, to be able to get that little mini kit that's going to help you make that reindeer happen faster, you have to join before midnight tonight. I'm going to add a little bit more glass because he looks a little naked over here to me. I'm going to add a little bit more. Fill him up, and then I got to check him out in the camera so I can see. See what it looks like. That's better. That's better. All right, I'm going to start with my resin, and I'm going to start in my glass area, and we're just going to drizzle. I'm going to start on the left. We're going to drizzle our glass. Drizzling helps you get all surfaces of your glass covered, okay? So it hits the top, it goes down the sides, and it goes all the way to your canvas surface and completely adheres to your canvas. That's where we drizzle. Drizzle, drizzle, drizzle. Drizzle, drizzle. Drizzle, drizzle, drizzle. So we're going left to right. I like to be methodical so that I know I have it covered. So if I go randomly all over the place, I won't know, especially myself personally, I won't know if I covered all the spots or not because I am squirrely as all get out. I'll be like, did I do that yet? I'm gonna scoot that glass back up a little. It's trying to come off the edge. I'm gonna put you right there. All right, we're gonna get all this glass done. Then we're gonna spread the resin out on the rest, and then we're going to decorate. So I don't know if y'all heard me last night tell you that Steve is going back on the trail. Steve has been, like last year, he started hiking the Appalachian Trail. He had to come off because his dad was having some surgery. And so he came off, and then we got wrapped up in selling his house in Oxford, and he hadn't been able to get back on the trail, but he is leaving next week. And he is going back and doing a little section hike for about 3 or 4 weeks. So there's that. So I think he's leaving Wednesday. So maybe we'll have to force him to go live with us before he leaves. What do you think? Should we force him? Force him to do it? I think so. All right, right now, I'm gonna just drizzle about half of that. So I wanna keep a little just in case. And let's smear that around. I'm just gonna use my hand, get to the edge, and we're gonna smear. That won't swoop over. We're gonna smear all that resin onto the flat surface of our canvas all the way to the edge. Now, I say this all the time, but it needs to be said, I guess. If you want to resin your sides, resin your sides. It is a personal preference. I do not like resin on the sides. I don't know why. I'm a weirdo. That's all I have to say about that. And but you do you, all right? If you like your sides resined, you do you. All right, now go around my edge. I'm gonna turn her back around. And I think while I have my gloves on and they are sticky with resin, well, let me see. I need to hit it with my heat gun real quick. Let me wipe my hands off. Let me wipe my hands off. Hang on. I don't want to take my gloves off, but I don't want resin all over my heat gun either. So let me hit my bubbles. Okay, so now we gotta make some decisions. So I think I'm gonna kind of tuck these in like right in here, but first thing I'm gonna do is get a little resin on them. All right, so I'm just gonna use my stick, smear a little resin on the fronts. That's why I saved some. Get a little resin on the front. And then we'll get a little resin on the back, especially where it's gonna touch our glass. All right, we're gonna kind of try to wiggle it in and see if we can get it half in, half out. All right, so I'm gonna kind of, actually I'm gonna kind of see if I can tuck under a little. Add a little under there, underwear. And let's get that piece out the way. And get half in, half out. Ugh, this is gonna be messy. Prepare yourself. There. So it's kind of half in, half out of the glass. Just like that. We're gonna do the same thing to this one. I'm gonna smear, smear, smear. Let's get a little bit on our leaf, both sides. And then we're gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna dig a hole, dig a little hole. We'll kind of force that in. We'll rearrange a few things. I'm digging that already, y'all. That is so stinking cute. Let's do this one. I'm making a huge mess with my hands and table though. All right. Yeah, I just didn't know exactly what I was gonna do. So, you know, this is how it goes. This is how it is sometimes. This is how it bees. This is how it bees. All right, now I'm just gonna tuck this one kind of on top of this one. I'm gonna dig a hole a little bit and then stick him right there. Oh my goodness, y'all. That is so cute. I'm gonna steal a little piece of glass and stick it underneath to help elevate that. There we go. Hang on, I messed up. There we go. I love this so far. My hands are so sticky. My hands are so sticky and resin is running everywhere. I'm gonna take my gloves off so I can do a few other things. And if I have to put them back on, I'll just get a fresh pair. This one is driving me crazy. All right, so I definitely want to use my candy corn. I'm gonna shove a few pieces in here and there. I think also I'm gonna grab a couple of small little pine cones. So I'm just gonna like place, I'm gonna put a little dollop and then place a pine cone. I don't like covering my pine cones because they are messy and they like shed. They shed like the brown stuff, the debris. So I'm gonna put a few right there. So cute. Y'all, I am completely in love with this. I was actually thinking I'm gonna gift this to somebody, but I think I'm gonna keep it. I think I'm gonna keep it. All right, 3 little pine cones. I'm gonna get a wipey for my fingers. I'm getting my hands in it. All right, now let's do, I'm just gonna shove that aside. I still have this and I still have some candy corns. So I think I'm gonna grab 3 candy corns, all right? You don't wanna have too many. And I'm gonna just place a couple. One there, maybe one here. Whoops, what's he doing? Where is he going? Let's put a little resin on top of those. Now we're just gonna hit it with some flower stuff. Just a little bit of extra floral-y kind of stuff. I'm digging these candy corns are so stinking cute. And candy corns are synonymous with fall. Oh my goodness. All right, so I have this floral spray and I love it. I bought like 10 of them when they were on sale recently. So I'm just going to take my scissors and cut off a couple of things. Like these sunflowers, they're like little buds. I love them so much. So I'm just gonna take one off. I'm gonna kind of bend it. I love that it's like just a hot mess, but I'm gonna kind of bend it where it's kind of curved, and I'm gonna tuck it in right under that leaf right there. Love it. And I'm gonna get another one. He's so cute. So cute. Let's tuck it. I'm gonna bend it a little so it tucks nicely. I'm gonna squish it under right there. Come on, you can do it. Get in there. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Right there. Get that off my thumb. And we'll do one more. Actually, let's do, I'm gonna do this thingy. Oops, I got all resin all up in that. I'm gonna use this because it's orange, and I'm just gonna tuck it up under this leaf a little. Hang on, I gotta get it just in the right spots. Oh my gosh, y'all. That is so cute. What is that? I'm trying to think if I want to do anything else. I may do one more sunflower because I cannot resist. I'm not going to resin on top of them. I'm just going to let them sit in the resin, right? I am going to put, because I'm going to stick this one right here, I am going to twist it, and I'm going to put a tiny bit of resin on the stem so I can make sure it sticks down. And I'm going to stick that right here by my pine cones and candy corn. I don't like that pine cone too much right there. I'm going to grab another one and get a little resin on his butt. Stick him right there. Okay. I think I've done enough. I think I've done enough. Let me move some of this stuff and do a little bit of cleanup, and then I will try to pick it up. I'm actually going to put some gloves on because resin is everywhere. This was a messy project, so be prepared or plan ahead and know how you're going to do it, right? It's so cute. So cute. So let me see if I can hold it up. Look at the bottom. Is that not adorable? So all of the leaves are kind of, they're like standing up. I'll be able to take a picture tomorrow and it'll show up better. I'll like do a little video so you can see. But this is just about the cutest thing ever. I love it. And I don't say that very often. I mean, I say it a lot, but I'm not like, I can't even deal with this. It's so cute. That's how I feel right now. Let's get some of this resin off. He definitely needs elevation. So let's elevate so I don't have to pry it off of the table tomorrow. Let's do that. I know it's messy. It's okay. I have had bigger messes, that's for sure. We'll stick that under there. Now he's elevated and he is ready to rumble. That is so cute.